Hi everyone. Today's lesson is on setting up a color wheel and using a colored pencil to create a color wheel. In this lesson, you have basically we're going to set the color wheel up, draw it, and then put in one color. Okay, now the tools that you're going to need for this assignment, you're going to need a pencil. Of course, you're going to need some paper. Some sort of a compass or something to make a circle. Actually, you're going to be making 3 circles and then 3 colored pencils. Those 3 colored pencils need to be red, yellow, and blue, and of course a ruler. Okay, now the compass that I'm going to use is it's called a safety compass. Again, guys, you can use anything to create 3 circles. Try to find, maybe you have a saucer plate or a large plate. Anything that can create 3 concentric circles. Okay, and again, I'm using this, what it's called a safety compass. They work really good. If you were here in person, we would be using these because I think they're just awesome. They're a lot better than the other compasses that always seem to slide around. These ones here are really pretty good for that. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to split this up. We need to make 12 sections. Okay, we're going to make 12 sections. This is a 12 color wheel. So the first thing we're going to do is, well, first of all, one of the things I'm doing up here is just putting down some notes that I'm going to, the different types of colors that I'll use. You guys can't see it, but basically it says we're going to put down 3 primaries, 3 secondaries, and 6 intermediates, and that is why we need 12. Okay? So now, once my notes are down here, hopefully you guys can see that. If not, it's okay, because we'll label them anyway. We're going to split this circle right in half. I'm going to go right through that dot that I made in the center, and then we're going to split it in quarters. So now we have 4 sections. Now, to make it even, mark on the outside of your wheel on 2 separate sections and try to space them out as evenly as you can. A lot of times we would use a protractor to do this, but just try to do your best to split those quarters into 2 additional sections. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side, right through the center. Make sure you go through the center, and then we're going to do the same thing there. Okay, now if I did this right, I should have 12 sections. Now what I'm doing on the outside is I'm basically labeling initials, P, I, S, I. P for primary, I for intermediate, S for secondary, and I for intermediate. I went the whole way around and labeled the whole way around, and when I'm done, if I did that right, I should have 3 primaries, 3 secondaries, and 6 intermediates. Now, label in all your colors. If that was too complicated for you, one of the things that you might want to do is just make reference, Google it, and make sure that you label all your colors. Again, you want 3 primaries, 3 secondaries, 6 intermediates. So I have blue, yellow, and red. In between my blue and yellow, I'll put my green, and make sure they're in order, make sure it's a spectrum. In between my yellow and red will be orange. And then in between the blue and the red will be violet. And then for the intermediates, let's give you an example here. In between blue and violet would be blue-violet. In between red and orange would be red-orange. In between blue and yellow, blue and green would be blue-green, etc. And just label them the whole way around. I think it's important for you guys to label these so you don't, as you work on this, you don't get your colors out of order. Because once you get them out of order, it's really hard to erase and go back. You almost have to start over again. To begin putting in the color, I'm doing my first one in red. Actually, I didn't like this red, and so it was more orange than red. So I went back in and I corrected it afterwards, and you'll see that on the second video. But anyway, you remember scumbling. We want to do the first part of this using the technique of scumbling, and we're going to do the outer ring. What will happen with these sections is as they get closer to the middle, they'll become darker or less intense. But I'm going to scumble here until I get the entire thing done. I'm going to bump this up just a little bit in speed. And it's using the scumbling technique. After I have one layer done in scumbling, I'm going to come back in and that outer edge, I'm going to make it even darker. Okay, so I have on the outer edge a nice dark value. In the center, I did light shading, light. I made it very light. And then in the center section, what I want to do is I'm going to put the complement in. Okay, and the complement is the color that's opposite of color on a color wheel. And if you look at your color wheel, you'll see the color that is opposite of red is green. Since I don't have a green, what makes green? Blue and yellow. So I put a light layer of blue down, and now I'm going to follow it up with a light layer of yellow. And then I go back to my blue, because what happened was is when I did this, that color was too yellow. So I added a little bit more blue to it. And then we're going to finish it off by burnishing it. Remember that technique, burnishing it? We're going to burnish it with more red. Okay, and what happens is you get a darker value and you get a less intense color. And remember now, for each one of your colors, you're adding the complement for that center section. Okay? And that does it for the first color and our first video. So after you're done with this, we'll start on the second one. You guys have a good day.